How often do we encounter situations where we feel misunderstood, where communication breaks down, or where we simply can't see eye to eye with someone? It happens all the time, whether in personal relationships, the workplace, or international diplomacy. That's where the 4 ways of seeing tool comes in. By providing a structured framework for analyzing perceptions and communication, it can help us navigate those tricky situations and find common ground. Additionally, it can help improve collaboration and prevent misunderstandings before they occur. So whether you're a leader looking to improve team dynamics, or a diplomat trying to negotiate, or someone just looking to communicate more effectively with those around you, the 4 ways of seeing is a valuable resource that can help you achieve your goals. So what are the 4 ways of seeing? The first is the self-centered view, or how we see ourselves. The second is the other-centered view, of how we see the other person or group. The third view is problem-centered, which is focused on identifying and solving problems. And finally, there's the system-centered view for understanding complex systems and structures. By identifying these perspectives, we can identify patterns and differences in perception, which can help us identify areas of commonality and potential misunderstandings. We can also use this framework to improve communication and collaboration by learning to see things from the other's perspectives. So why is the 4 ways of seeing an important tool? Well, communication breaks down and misunderstandings can have serious consequences in business, politics, and personal relationships. By using this tool, we can prevent those breakdowns and build stronger relationships based on mutual understandings and respect. So how can businesses use the 4 way of seeing tool to improve teamwork, problem solving, and decision making? Well, let's consider an example. Imagine if you're part of the team tasked with developing a new product or service for your company. By using the 4 ways of seeing, you can encourage your team members to consider multiple perspectives and approaches. For instance, you might use self-centered seeing to consider your team's own skills and resources. What are your strengths, and how can you leverage them to create something truly innovative? You might use other-centered seeing to consider the needs and perspectives of your customers and clients, what they are looking for, and how they can meet those needs. You might use other-centered seeing to consider the needs and perspectives of your customers and clients. What are they looking for, and how can you meet those needs in a way that sets your company apart? You might use problem-centered seeing to identify and address root causes. What challenges is your target market facing, and how can you solve those challenges in a way that's both effective and sustainable? And finally, you might use system-centered seeing to consider the broader context of the business or industry and what trends and developments are shaping the market and how you can position yourself for success in the long term. By using the 4 ways of seeing tool in this way, you can help your team approach problem solving and decision making from a holistic perspective. You'll be better equipped to identify the opportunities, avoid potential pitfalls, and work together more effectively to achieve your goals. So if you're looking to improve teamwork and your collaboration within the company, the 4 ways of seeing tool is a valuable resource that can help you get there. The next one is academics. So how can they use the 4 ways of seeing to improve critical thinking and analysis? As a researcher or scholar, you'll likely be used to approaching problems and questions with a critical eye, but by using the 4 ways of seeing, you can take your analysis to the next level by considering multiple perspectives and approaches. For instance, you might use self-centered seeing to consider your own goals and interests, what you are hoping to achieve with your research, and how you can stay motivated and focused. You might use the other-centered seeing to consider the perspective and needs of your peers and your mentors and what they think of your work, and how you can incorporate their feedback to improve your approach. From the problem-centered view, you might use it to identify and address gaps in knowledge or understanding. What do we still not know about this particular topic or question, and how can you fill those gaps? And finally, you might use system-centered seeing to consider the broader context of the field or discipline. How does your research fit into the larger picture, And what are the implications of your findings in the field as a whole? By using the 4 ways of seeing tool in this way, you can hone your critical thinking skills and develop a more nuanced understanding of the research in the field in general. You'll be better equipped to identify areas for improvement, make connections between seemingly disparate concepts, and contribute to the ongoing conversation in your field. In the military, leaders are often tasked with making complex decisions that can have life or death consequences. By using the 4 ways of seeing, those leaders can improve their ability to navigate those situations and consider multiple perspectives and approaches. For example, a commander might use self-centered seeing to consider their own goals and objectives. What do they hope to achieve with their mission or operation, and how can they ensure their own success? They might use other-centered seeing to consider the needs and perspectives of their troops or allies, and what do those under their command need to be successful, and how can they work with their allies to achieve shared goals. They might use the problem-centered seeing to identify and address root causes or conflicts and challenges. What are the underlying issues that are driving the conflict, and how can they be addressed in a way that leads to long-term stability? And finally, they might use system-centered seeing to consider the broader context of the military or political situation. How does their mission fit into the larger picture, and what is the implication of their actions for the region as a whole? By using the 4 ways of seeing, in this way military leaders can improve their strategic planning, decision-making, and communication with their team and allies. They'll be better equipped to navigate more complex situations and make better choices that lead to success on the battlefield. And finally, as many of us know, social media can be a breeding ground for controversy and misunderstanding. By using the 4 ways of seeing, individuals can approach these situations with a more nuanced and empathetic perspective. For example, a social media user might use self-centered seeing to consider their own beliefs and values. Why do they hold the opinions that they do, and how they can articulate those beliefs in a way that is respectful and persuasive. They might use other-centered seeing to consider the needs and perspectives of their followers and friends. What is their audience looking for, and how they can communicate in a way that is helpful and informative. They might also use the problem-centered seeing to identify and address misunderstandings or misinformation. What are the sources of confusion or disagreement, and how they might be addressed in a way that leads to greater understanding. Last, they might use system-centered seeing to consider the broader context of the issue or the topic with a larger social, economic, and political system. What are the underlying factors that are driving the conversation, and how can they be addressed in a way that leads to positive change? By using the 4 ways of seeing, in this way, individuals can improve their communication and interaction on social media. They can build stronger relationships and create a more positive, constructive environment online. The 4 ways of seeing is a powerful framework for understanding and analyzing human behavior and communication, but it is not the only tool in your toolbox. Here are a few other techniques and approaches that can be useful to feed into this analysis. First is the Johari window, a model for understanding how people perceive themselves. By identifying what is known and unknown about ourselves and others, we can gain a better understanding of our own strengths and weaknesses, as well as improve our communication with those around us. The second is the SWOT analysis, a structured approach to analyzing a situation by examining its strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Identifying these factors, we can develop a more comprehensive understanding of a situation and make more informed decisions. Third is the stakeholder analysis, which is a tool for prioritizing stakeholders in a project or situation. By understanding the needs and perspectives of different stakeholders, we can develop a more effective communication and collaboration strategy. Fourth is the root cause analysis, which is a method for identifying the underlying causes of a problem or issue. By identifying these causes, we can develop a more effective solution that gets after the root of the problem rather than just treating the symptoms. And finally, there's the DM framework, which is a decision-making tool that helps individuals and groups make better decisions by considering multiple perspectives and potential outcomes. By combining these tools and techniques with the 4 ways of seeing, we can gain a more comprehensive understanding of the situation and develop more effective strategies for communication, collaboration, as well as decision-making. So don't be afraid to experiment with different approaches and see what works best for you. With these tools at your disposal, you'll be well equipped to tackle even the toughest challenges. So here are some tips for making the most of your analysis. First, involve multiple stakeholders. The more perspectives you can gather, the more comprehensive your analysis will be. By involving a diverse group of individuals, you can gain a more nuanced understanding of the situation and develop more effective solutions. In another perspective, you can use AI such as ChatGPT to also limit bias and gain more perspectives. Second, be honest and objective. It can be tempting to let personal biases or emotions cloud your analysis, but it's important to remain objective and focused on the facts. Be honest with yourself and your team about the challenges you're facing and work together to find solutions that are based on evidence, not just feelings. While it is important to understand the past and the present for a current situation, it is even more important to focus on the future. What steps can you take to move forward and achieve your goals? By keeping your eyes on the horizon, you can stay motivated and more focused towards success. Fourth, prioritize. It's unlikely that you'll be able to address every issue or challenge at once, so it's important to prioritize your goals and objectives. What are the most important issues that need to be addressed first, and in what order? By developing a clear plan of action, you can make progress towards your goals more effectively. Fifth, you want to be specific. The more specific your analysis is, the more effective your solutions will be. Rather than focusing on broad concepts or generalities, try to be as specific as possible about the challenges you're facing and the solutions that you're developing. And finally, use the results. Once the analysis is complete, it is important to put your findings into action. Use the insights you've gained from developing more effective strategies to communicate more clearly with others and make better decisions. By following these tips, you'll be able to make the most out of your analysis and achieve greater success in your personal and professional life. So what are the specific steps you can follow to use the 4 ways of seeing tool and analyze problems or challenges? Here is the overview. Step 1. Identify the problem or challenge. This might involve identifying specific goals, objectives, or outcomes that the group is trying to achieve. 2. Gather data. Gather data from a variety of internal and external sources such as other tools, employee surveys, market research, and industry trends. 3. Identify the self-centered approach. Consider your own goals and needs as well as motivations. Step 4. Identify the other-centered approach. Consider the needs and perspectives of others. 5. Identify the problem-centered approach. Identify and address root causes of the problem or challenge. Step 6. Identify the system-centered approach. Consider the broader context of the problem or challenge. 7. Analyze the data. Synthesize and integrate insights from all 4 ways of seeing to develop creative and effective solutions to the problem or challenge. This might involve brainstorming, prototyping, and testing different ideas, and tools like decision-making frameworks or root cause analysis to evaluate and refine your ideas. Number 8. Develop a plan. Set specific goals and objectives, allocate the necessary resources, and implement new strategies and tactics as needed. By following these steps, you can use the 4 ways of seeing tool to analyze problems and challenges in a structured and effective way and develop creative and actionable solutions that lead to success. Self-centered view is based on an individual's own needs, desires, and perspective. It is motivated by self-interest and is focused on the individual's own goals and objectives. Here are some questions you might ask to better understand a self-centered way of seeing. First, what are the individual's goals and objectives? What are their motivations and priorities? What are the individual's personal needs and desires? Understanding these can help you see things from your own perspective and appreciate your goals and objectives. Next, consider how the individual's self-centered way of seeing influences their behavior and decision making. How does it impact their relationship with others? Do they consider the needs and perspectives of others, or are they primarily focused on their own interest? It is also important to consider how the individual's self-centered way of seeing influences their communication with others, and in what ways it may lead to misunderstandings or conflicts. Finally, consider how the individual's self-centered way of seeing may be balanced with other ways of seeing, such as the other-centered, problem-centered, or system-centered approach to improve communication and collaboration. Here are a few examples of self-centered seeing. A student may view this way to prioritize their own grades and academic performance rather than considering the needs and interests of their classmates or the class as a whole. A salesperson may use this view to focus on their own commission and earnings rather than the needs or interests of their customers. Politicians use this to prioritize their own re-election or career advancement rather than the needs and concerns of their constituents. By understanding the self-centered way of seeing, we can better understand individuals and work towards more effective communication and collaboration. Other-centered is based on the perspective and needs of others. It is motivated by empathy and the desire to understand and connect with others. Here are some questions you might ask to better understand the other-centered way of seeing. First, what are the individual's goals and objectives? What are their motivations and priorities? It is important to understand these to see how other-centered way influences their behavior and decision making. Balancing the needs of others with your own is key to a successful other-centered way of seeing. Finally, consider how the individual's other-centered way of seeing can be balanced with other views such as self-centered, problem-centered, system-centered to improve communication and collaboration. Here are a few examples of other-centered way of seeing. A teacher using this view may focus on the needs and learning styles of their students rather than just following a set curriculum. A counselor may use this view to prioritize the emotional well-being and needs of their clients rather than just following a prescribed treatment plan. A customer service representative using this approach might focus on understanding and addressing the needs and concerns of their customers rather than just following a script or getting the interaction over as quickly as possible. By understanding the other-centered way of seeing, we can better connect with and empathize with others and work towards more effective communication and collaboration. The third view, which is the problem-centered approach, is focused on identifying and solving problems. It is motivated by a desire to improve the situation and make the world a better place. Here are some questions that you might ask to better understand a problem-centered way of seeing. First, what is the problem or challenge that needs to be addressed? What are the underlying causes of this problem or challenge? By understanding the root causes, we can develop more effective solutions. Next, consider what the consequences of the problem or challenges are if they are not addressed. This can help prioritize which problems to solve first. It is also important to consider potential solutions to that problem or challenge. You have to weigh the pros and cons of each potential solution and understand how each may address the root causes of the problem or challenge. Here are a few examples of problem-centered seeing. A doctor using this approach might focus on diagnosis and treating a patient's medical condition rather than just following a routine or protocol. An engineer might focus on finding creative solutions to technical challenges rather than just using established practices or procedures. And finally, an activist might advocate for social or political change to address specific issues or injustices rather than just focusing on their own interest and belief. By using problem-centered seeing, we can identify and address root causes of problems and work towards more effective solutions that have a positive impact on our organization and communities. The tool's fourth perspective, system-centered, is concerned with understanding the complex systems and structures that shape our world. By analyzing the relationships, interactions, and feedback loops within the system, we can identify points of leverage and opportunities for improvement. The system-centered approach is critical in understanding the broader context of any problem or challenge and helps in making informed decisions. To better understand the system-centered way of seeing, here are some questions that may be asked. How does the problem or challenge fit into the larger system or structure that shape your organization and community? What are the interconnected factors that influence the problem or challenge? How might different approaches to the problem affect these systems or structures? What are the feedback loops or feedback mechanisms within the system that might influence the problem or challenge? And then last, how does the system respond to changes and disruption? Here are a few examples. An environmentalist, using a system-centered way of seeing, might focus on understanding and analyzing the interdependent factors that influence the environment, such as ecosystems, biodiversity, and climate, rather than just considering individual species or habitats. A political scientist may use this approach to focus on understanding structures and dynamics of the political systems rather than just considering individual politicians or policies. Now it's time to synthesize and integrate the insights from all four ways of seeing. This will help you develop a creative and effective solution to the problem or challenge. You might start by brainstorming different ideas and then testing them through prototypes or simulations. Decision-making frameworks such as the SWOT analysis or root cause analysis can help you evaluate and refine your ideas. Move forward, you need to set specific goals and objectives for your solutions. Consider what resources will be needed and allocate them accordingly. Finally, it's your time to implement your new strategies or tactics. It is important to be open to feedback and make the necessary adjustments along the way. Remember, the four ways of seeing is an iterative process. You may need to revisit earlier steps or use the four lenses to analyze a specific issue further. By doing so, you will continue to develop a deeper understanding of the problem or challenge and ultimately find more effective solutions. If you found this presentation informative, be sure to follow for more insightful presentations on topics related to culture, global communication, and strategic thinking. Additionally, be sure to check out the AI-powered Strategic Thinker, link in the bio. Thanks for watching.